Hello, Amanda here with Crafting with Amanda, and welcome to another Makers with Heart collaboration. This month we are focusing on stamp sets and thin cuts that combine and all of the wonderful ways you can use them. So I went in my stash and I pulled out, this was a constant campaign from last year, and I just loved the flowers and all of the different images. And then this is a sneak peek to the January stamp of the month. Shh. But because the best is yet to come just worked so well, I'm going to use that as a title for this picture of my parents I found in my photos. And so it's in February at a Valentine ball that was held at our church, but it's also the year like they had been married for 25 years. So I just thought the best is yet to come is perfect for that kind of sentiment. So here I am auditioning different paper colors because the background from their photo is red, but it's not, it's a deep red, but it was hard to match. So I pulled out some holiday red. You can see I had been cutting poinsettias for my Christmas cards, and so I had this scrap on the paper, and I'm just rubbing scarlet ink on it because I think the background color is somewhere in between those two colors. So then this is a sheet of scarlet cardstock that I am putting holiday red on to kind of brighten it up and bring more of the true red tones versus the gray of the scarlet. And I think that's our winner. So I'm going to go ahead and try to pick my other papers. Again, because I'm doing Christmas cards, I had some holographic paper on my desk, and the balloons in the background, as well as the sheen on the dress my mom is wearing, which happens to be my dress, just want to say that, kind of has that holographic or that shine to it. And I'm trying to find a background for this because I have an idea of what I want to do. I'm going to do 3 stripes of paper on a wood grain background, or that's what's in my head. So I went to my stash and pulled out my plastic bag that has all of my wood grains in it, and you could see that one was from Timberline. So I'm just auditioning all the different wood grains, and it's funny, I never thought that I would use the light one, but it kind of has those pink gray hues to it that just seem to work. So I pulled this dark one that again has kind of that charcoal with the brown undertones, and I'm trying to decide between the two. And I like the brown because it kind of pulls in some of the color of my dad's suit, but I think I'm going to go with the light one. I really like how that works, and it's a softer, lighter background. So like I said, I'm going to trim all these down, and you don't need to watch me how I use the cutter. I'm sure you all know how to use a cutter, and if not, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to give some instructions on that. So I started with these at 3.5 inches, thinking that 3 strips, 3.5 inches would just go along across the page nicely and be a good backdrop to my parents' photo. So I have all those cut, and now I'm trying to decide my placement of the photo. And because my parents are looking to the left, I'm going to place them on kind of the right side of my layout. And then I'm going to do some strips along the bottom, kind of something for the photo to be anchored on or to be sitting on, so it's just not floating in the middle of the page. And 3.5 inches was just too wide. It's taking up too much of the background, so I'm going to trim all these down to 3 inches. And thankfully it cut all the way through before it slid. I don't know if you noticed, but the whole top slid a little bit, and I could have had a very crooked cut. And I know, just so that you don't panic, I know on this light pink, which is ballerina, I'm going to do some random stamping to kind of bring in some of the other colors and to add some more interest. I could not find pattern paper that was working for me with this photo. So that's why I started with the cardstock and knew that I could add some interest with stamps. So just like some of my old photos from my mom and my heritage albums, my mom wrote on the back of this photo, so I'm going to steal that for some of the journaling. So I went ahead and just copied it and printed it on cardstock on my printer. And now, just like I did with the papers, I'm trying to decide the matting. Because this is such a cool photo of their 25th anniversary, it's the only Valentine ball that I know that the church hosted. I wanted to do a double matte. And then again, like I said, I struggled finding pattern paper, and I need to do those papers at the bottom. So I went to my file that lists all of the Close to My Heart cardstock or paper packs and their colors, and I found True Love had the ballerina in it. And so I pulled it out, and as you can see, I'm going to pull 3 different patterns from that True Love paper. Great name. I thought maybe I'd be able to use some of the stickers, but it goes into the mulberry and kind of the purple tones, so I'm going to stick to the ones with the more ballerina on it. So I cut off the different strips, and I knew on this one that I was going to add some hearts to it to bring in our scarlet and holiday red color. So I'm stamping first in the darker scarlet and then in the holiday red, and then I stamp off onto my scrap paper because I'm doing 2nd generation stamping. You will see here that I forget to stamp off one time, and I just do a full image in that dark. I don't do it 2nd generation, I do it 1st generation. So then I go back and just pepper in a couple other iterations with it being the 1st generation of stamping, and I think it looks great. And now I'm going to do the random stamping on that ballerina piece, and again I am using that stamp set. It was the Hello Fabulous from the National Stamp of the Month campaign, I want to say from 2022, and I love this. This flower is fun. It's a little whimsical but a little formal all at the same time, in my opinion. And so again, doing that same color blend of the scarlet with the holiday red, I'm able to match the colors better for that piece of cardstock. I did it off camera, but I took my blending brush and the holiday red and went over top of it to give it that tone that matches the background of the photos. And originally I thought that I was going to cut enough of the flowers to kind of put them over on this random stamp cardstock, and so I didn't care that my leaves were kind of over into the flowers. But then I realized that I didn't think the overstamping, the overlapping parts of the leaves was distracting, so I didn't end up adding more cutout flowers that way. I just use the thin cut flowers for embellishments. So now I'm going to do some auditioning, figure out how long I want these strips at the bottom and how, they're going to be placed. If you've watched my channel for a minute, you know I am very much a visual person, and so I have to audition. I'm pretty fussy about, if the papers are lined up. I see all these people that just kind of throw it on there, they see their vision, they move on. I wish I do not have that, and I also cannot cut a straight line even if it's only a 1/2 inch long on both of these cuts that I do with the scissors. They're crooked and I'm okay with it. I'm just, if people are looking at my scrapbook pages that closely, then they will have things to find. So here I went ahead and used the thin cuts and cut out that notepad from the January stamp of the month and also the scallop circle from the January stamp of the month. And then I'm using 3 different inks. And I love these suction cup holders, by the way. There will be links for those in the description, as well as other tools that I use. And I have to tell you that it's an Amazon link, and if you use it, Amazon could pay me a small commission, pennies, if you order through that. And it's just a nice way to support channels. There's a lot of people that have those kind of links to other businesses, so I strongly encourage you to use them. And here that B was just being fussy, so I had to stamp it a couple more times, but all in all it worked out well. And now, because I had cut that scallop circle in the ballerina pink, it was kind of getting lost, especially with all of the pattern busyness in that random stamp piece. So I'm going to swap my scarlet and that, and then I'm going to kind of form some embellishment clusters. This is a loose thing for me. I'm kind of getting my idea wrapped around how I want to have these on here. Do I want to have just one like big embellishment area, or do I need to have multiple? Originally when I had this in mind, I was actually going to have some other rectangles kind of behind my parents, but I think that just took away from looking at the photo, so I eliminated those. I didn't even go that far. Now I know I need to have this journaling piece because I want to talk about how this was a ball, a Valentine's dance at the church, and I just remember my parents being so excited to go because it wasn't a family event, it was just them, and my mom borrowed my dress for that. I was involved with Rainbow Girls, it's a Masonic organization, and that was my state officer dress. So she borrowed that because it was pink and went well with Valentine. So here I've decided that I'm going to do 3 embellishment clusters, one in the upper corner as you can see, the big one by the title, and then one down again to bring your eye to the journaling. And the holographic paper, it needed to have some balance to it. So I'm going to bring in a few of the hearts that I cut out, again from that Hello Fabulous thin cut set. But I think things are just a little too neat. So I'm going to go ahead and rough up all my edges with the edge distressor there. And this is it. The layout is done. I'm going to add some highlights with the gel pen. I tried to add some gems, but it was too much competition with the holograph paper. So I omitted that. But you could easily add, in hindsight, maybe if I would have gone with black, it would have balanced the frame around my parents. And I might do that before I put this in an album. But be sure to check out what the other girls do this week. I am the first one. We will go until Friday with Jessica. So the links for their playlist will be below the video, as well as any products that are available. Have a great day. Blessings.